Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you've never been here before, my name is Kim, and on this channel we talk about things beauty related, not beauty related, and sometimes I do a story time, or you might even get treated to a mini rant if you're into those kinds of things. But today is going to be more of a story time, only because you're probably thinking, why are you doing story time on this channel? It's mostly reviews on beauty related stuff. True, but my story time consists of purchasing products at a beauty store and something that went wrong with that, which I don't think is right. It also mostly concerns my Canadian customers, my gosh, no, my Canadian friends. These are for Canadian customers, and that's why I wanted to bring it to everyone's attention. I have done things like this before. I believe I did a little talk about something called, well, they were called unicorn eyewear, I believe it was, and I've also shared a story on Sephora bumping up prices for their quote-unquote seasonal sales. So if you want to check those videos out, I will place cards at some point in the video in whatever corner they appear in. So today, what I thought I was going to bring up was ULTA. Now, ULTA Beauty, if you don't know, is an American beauty store. It's primarily a competitor, I guess, of Sephora, but in the States. And they're huge. They're everywhere in the States. They're almost like Walmart, almost. I find going in there is like going into a Winners, if you've never been in. They're a little all over the place. It's kind of like very Winners-y feel to me. There's just like stuff everywhere. Whereas Sephora, if you go in, you have, you know, your Anastasia Beverly Hills, you have your Urban Decay, and everything's pretty much signed to that effect. However, I have been in multiple ULTA locations, and some are way better than others. Like the one in Bellingham is really nice. You can kind of tell your way around, you know where you're going, bath stuff, hair stuff, you can kind of get the flow. But I went into one in Vegas, and it was a mess. It was like a Kmart. I'm dating myself. You guys probably have never heard of Kmart, but if you have, you know what I'm talking about. But the problem is, I don't live in the States. So if I want something from ULTA, I either have to buy it online or I have to drive down there and bring it back. The problem with buying it online is their shipping is horrendous. It can be anywhere from 5 to 19 days if it makes it to you at all. And in most cases, I've ordered 4 times. I've ordered 5 times. I've received 2 out of the 5 orders. Most of them just get lost, or they're just never shipped at all. And the problem is, they have a broker that brings stuff in here, and I'm not going to get into the whole supply chain management thing in terms of brokers and imports and exports, because it can be very dry if that's not your jam. But basically, the broker brings it in and passes it through to Canada, and sometimes fills out the appropriate shipping documents to get it, import and export import documents to get it into Canada, not export. We're not sending things to the US. But what ULTA Beauty seems to do is they have something called Border Free, and Border Free issues the invoices to Canadian customers. So if I buy something, I get an invoice that looks like something like this. Now, I've taken out all of my personal information, but this is ULTA Beauty powered by Border Free. And according to ULTA, Border Free generates this. So this was my order. And as you can see, I spent $139.74 Canadian, okay, on all this stuff here. But a lot of this stuff was free primer sampler with any $60 online purchase. Free Desert Rose Beauty with any $80 online purchase. Now, keep in mind that's $80 American, and you have to spend the conversion to actually get the gift if you're buying it and bringing it to Canada. Pro tip there. This is not spend $80 Canadian, this is spend $80 US. Anyway, so what had happened with this is I get a bill for $139.74 Canadian. That's what I'm expecting to be declared at the border, because I will have to pay taxes on that and duties. Sometimes, if the border guard's feeling nice or whatever, you don't have to pay duties and taxes. It comes through and you're okay. Why am I writing this? Anyway, you're okay. So that's great. That's my invoice. I'm waiting for delivery. This is my packing slip. And what I've done here is I've highlighted free, 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 free. But also there's $60, $80, $100 spend $115. And this is what came in my ULTA box. If you notice, it says Collect Customs. This was on the outside of the box. I peeled it off to prove my point. Oh. So if we flip this over, you won't be able to see this because my camera won't read it. But basically, this is the CP72, and this is a customs declaration form. And this is done by ULTA. And what they've done here is they've listed everything in the box, which they have to do by law. But when they were declaring the values of the free items, they put them in at full value. So the values that these free goods that I was supposed to get for spending $60 and $80 and $100 online, all of a sudden were being declared at a value. So now that takes my original $139.74. I think let's go with $107 American. It's now being declared at $397.15 American. Okay, so now my invoices don't even match. And what happens with that is Canadian Border Services gets a hold of it. They, of course, convert it to Canadian. So $397, which is declared by ULTA, has now turned into $567 or $17.65. And I have to pay $72.04 in tax. $72. That is almost over half of my original $139 bill. You're still with me? What really, really pisses me off in this situation is these goods are supposed to be free. And you're declaring them at full value. Not at $1, not at a penny, because in some cases you have to declare anything in a box and the only thing you can go is as low as a penny. Not at a penny. You're declaring them at $60, $80, and $100 US dollars. So now I'm paying a fortune in duty and taxes. What I've noticed as well for my Canadian friends is when you're checking out, ULTA nicely says you can check out with their border free, and they guarantee you that these dollar values, if you click a certain shipping level, will be all the duty and taxes that you pay. On this $139 order, my apparent duties and taxes were $93. $93 in duty and taxes, apparently. Well, as we can see, when the actual duty and taxes came back, it was only $72. So ULTA had marked that up and made some kind of profit. I don't know how, I don't know why, but that should not be right. But never ever ship with prepaid duty and taxes. If you're given an option, always risk it, because sometimes you can get it through. But they shouldn't be declaring free goods. And on top of that, that $93 duty and taxes, that clearly was based on these free gifts having a full value. And they're not telling you that. Nowhere on the website does it say that when these things are going to be imported into Canada, you're going to be declaring the full value of the free goods. And in fact, these are not free. That's misleading to the customer, and that should not happen. And I don't believe as a corporation, ULTA shouldn't have that figured out. That's what happened. I got hit with $72.02 in customs and duties and taxes. So I phoned ULTA, I rang them up, and I got first person on the phone, can't remember her name. It was clear to me she was lying. It was clear to me that she had no clue what I was talking about. I don't believe she's ever actually crossed the line from the US into Canada, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you don't know, don't pretend like you know. Don't grasp at straws and tell the customer, I understand what you're saying. No, you don't. You don't understand import and export when it comes to like shipping goods. It's fine if you don't know. Just tell me you don't know and find me somebody who does. So she proceeded to blame everyone but ULTA. It was Border Free's fault. It was Canada Post's fault. It was FedEx's fault, whom I don't even think FedEx touched this, but it was FedEx's fault. And I kept trying to apply her for answers. Then she says, okay, well, I'm gonna go get a supervisor and I'll be back. Immediately transfers me over to Border Free, which is the warehouse that houses this material and the goods, and pushes it forward. What am I gonna do with Border Free? Border Free has nothing to do with this. Border Free doesn't create the declaration form. Border Free simply, in this case, creates the shipment confirmation. They send me the shipment summary and basically invoice me. That's as far as they go. They don't do anything past that. Because if you notice, here, says $60 online purchase, 0. They don't know the value of that. They didn't create this declaration form here. That was ULTA. Anyways, I hung up. I phoned back. And another girl. Again. Guessing. Has no idea. Seems to know a little more. Tells me she's going to help me. I said, great, fine. I'm going to get a supervisor. Puts me on hold. Never comes back to the phone. I waited on hold for 15 minutes. This is the type of customer service level that you're getting when you phone ULTA. So be prepared for a little bit of a war on your hands if this happens to you. Ultimately, your best bet is probably to go to the store, and I'm going to say that right now. Finally, I gave up and I phoned Boarder Free. Boarder Free did exactly what I thought they were going to do. They basically washed their hands of it and said, we see $139 charged in our original bill, and that's what we invoiced you for. ULTA fills up the declaration. Thank you, I already knew that. And this is like the same issue that I had today. I went into Sephora to return something, and they always scan I order everything online there, and I've never had to give them a Beauty Insider reward card. They scan it in the barcode, the information is there. The girl at the till today, and I've returned a lot of things in my time, but the girl there actually said, well, we need the card because the barcodes don't read on the computer. Yes, they do. Again, here we go. We are making things up because we don't want to tell the customer, I don't know why this is not working. Just tell me, the barcode doesn't seem to be pulling up your Beauty Insider rewards card. Could I please have the card or your telephone number? But no, instead she proceeded to tell me that you always need to have your Beauty Insider because the barcodes from online orders don't actually give you the Beauty Insider profile pulled up when you scan them. And I know that's not true. So anyways, I digress. Back to my mini story time, which I'm getting pretty heated on. So anyways, I phoned ULTA for the 3rd time, and now I've been on the phone for over an hour. So I'm pretty annoyed. I'm still being pretty respectful because, quite honestly, I've been on the receiving end of that. I have been in customer service for 7.5 years. I did work at a major big box realtor for 7.5 years, going through university and college and all that. And I've had many people yell at me, and I get it. Being in retail, any form of retail, a call center is probably worse because you're not physically in front of someone. It's a thankless job. It truly is. Which is why I'm trying to be respectful. I get a gentleman this time. He seems like he knows a little more. When I use the words import or export and import, he understands what I'm talking about. When I use the word declaration, he seems to understand what that word means. But then proceeds to tell me that because Boarder Free sends me the invoice, he can't give me a refund for any of the overage because it would just be paid to Boarder Free and not to me. What? What does that even mean? Like, how would it not be paid to me? Boarder Free invoiced me. Of course it would go to me. It's not going to go to Boarder Free and then they have to send it back to me. Like, that doesn't even make sense to me. And then when I argue that point, he proceeds to tell me, well, what happens is we can send a form to Boarder Free requesting that you get your $72.02 in customs money back, but they'll reject it. They'll just send it back to us. There's nothing we can do. How is that my problem? That's an issue between ULTA and Boarder Free. Apparently they do this all the time. That's not my problem. That's a problem between you and ULTA. The customer is not stuck in the middle being expected to foot the bill because both parties don't want to get along. Because there's a disconnect between ULTA, whoever fills out the declaration, and Boarder Free, and it getting to me. Me, I don't equate to having to pay that difference. That is the company's problem. And again, as a multi-million-dollar corporation, which I'm sure ULTA is, I have no clue why they can't figure this out. So I argue with him again and say, that's not right. It is not my problem. That's their problem. So finally tells me again to get a supervisor on the phone. Okay. She tries to tell me the same thing. We go back and forth for a little bit. Eventually she acquiesced to, well, perhaps I could just give you a gift card. I don't want a gift card because a gift card is going to result in me having to order online again, which is what I'm trying to avoid. Right? That went nowhere. It went nowhere. So past that point, I had already sent in an email to ULTA's helpline because sometimes they're faster than actually getting someone on the phone, if you can believe that or not. The end result of this, I got a gentleman who seemed to know what I was talking about, told me this never happens, which again is a lie because my sister just experienced the same problem the next day. So clearly it happens. This has actually happened to her twice. She just emails them and they apparently give her a refund. But for some reason, for me, it was much more difficult. I sent them all of this, pleaded my case, and now we are pending a refund. But this has been a week, a lot of time arguing. If you do run into this problem, keep all of anything stuck to the box, keep it and send it over to them, and you should be able to recoup the money, because they are falsely declaring things at full value and they shouldn't be, and there's a disconnect between their website and the final price that comes over to the border and what you end up paying in actual duties and customs, and there shouldn't be. So, moral of this very long story: don't prepay options for your duties and taxes unless it's very low and unless it includes shipping, and always just keep your paperwork and make sure you know what you're buying. Just be very, very careful. Keep your paperwork and don't prepay duties and taxes. And probably don't order online to Canada with ULTA, because you're just going to have a war on your hands. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed that rather lengthy story time. I tried to keep it as streamlined as I could, but there's a lot that goes into, obviously, import, export, and supply chain management, which we're not going to get into because it can be very boring. But I just wanted to shed some light on this in case you guys have any problems. If you do encounter this and you wanted to know a little more about what went on, or you're having issues dealing with them, you can leave me a comment down below and I will try to get back to you. And as always, I will see you guys on the next video.